Chapter 4. Well, for one. How do we get into this mess? That's far enough. You can't run forever, Mr. Phoenix Wright. What have I done wrong? I cannot allow you to go on like this. Huh? But I'm just a simple defense attorney. Silence! You are no longer worthy of your title. I've had this dream before, someplace, some time ago, as if this day was written into my destiny. Today I'll stand in court as a lawyer to prove a killer innocent. Hello, this is Phoenix Wright. You don't look so well, dude. You're gonna prove me not guilty today, right? If you please, Mr. Lawyer. Remember, it's not just me. Your precious friend's life is riding on today's verdict too. Now listen up. You'd better get on guard a guilty sentence, okay? If you get that creepy slime bag of not guilty, I'll never forgive you, ever. Maya. Phoenix. Phoenix? Mia! Maya, how's Maya? I don't know. You don't know? She hasn't tried to channel me since yesterday. Mia, what am I supposed to do? Well, like I said, for a lawyer, the worst of times are when you have to force your biggest smiles. But you can't give up. There's still some hope left. Stop it, please! There's nothing left. Not here, not anywhere. It's the cursed on guard again. Will you leave me alone? Look, don't call me anymore, I mean it! You really mean, pal? Ah, Gumshoe! I'm really sorry. Where are you? Let me join the investigation team and we're chasing after the killer, pal. Huh? Then you have some sort of lead? Sorry, but right now we've got 0 leads on the guy. But we're not gonna give up. Gumshoe. Until the trial is over, until the verdict is handed down, we're going to do everything we can and find the killer. If we can get Maya out, then you can get on guard the guilty verdict he deserves, pal. That's true. I could do that if they found Maya first. You got that? So you have to do whatever you can to make the trial last longer. I have to make the trial last longer? If you go at Mr. Edgeworth with everything you've got, then you two can draw it out. Oh, now I get it. I believe in you, pal. You and Mr. Edgeworth can do it. So, believe in us. We're gonna give it all we've got, just like you. Got it. Thanks, Gumshoe. Hey, Phoenix. You understand now, don't you? You have something money will never be able to buy. Friendship. It's the strongest weapon in the world, and you have it in abundance. Yeah! Looks like we're coming to the end. I have to make the trial last as long as I can. Gumshoe will come through, I know it. Please kev it the hell out of this. All of it. Kev it at all. And then just leave that line in so everyone can question what the hell I'm talking about. Court is now in session for the trial of Matt on guard. The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor.
Now, as I recall, we concluded yesterday's session with a big mystery on our hands. The mystery being, what exactly was Miss Adrian Andrews' role in this murder? That is to say, is she really connected to the crime itself? Mr. Edgeworth, if you would please inform the court of today's proceedings.
Adrian Andrews. She forged evidence that threw suspicion onto Mr. On guard, and then proceeded to escape the crime scene by wearing a nickel samurai costume. The guilt of these actions are those from which she cannot escape.
So you're saying she is guilty after all?
I'm not finished, Your Honor. Miss Andrews has nothing to do with committing the actual murder. I would like to direct the court's attention to this card.
What is that? It looks like a shell.
This is the calling card of a certain assassin.
Assassin, you say?
Yes, Juan Garrido was killed by a professional assassin. And the person who hired the assassin, his client so to speak, is Matt on guard.
What a surprising turn of events!
I would think it's become commonplace by now, Your Honor.
I know what's going on this time. So I know that everything Edgeworth has said is true. But we still have to hold on as long as we can. At least until Maya is safe and sound. I wonder how the trial will turn out today. Now then, please call your first witness, Mr. On guard. Mr. Edgeworth? Fuck.
Kevin. I'm not very good at this. You'd think I'd improved at this, but apparently not. Mr. On guard, you're now prosecutor. Prosecute yourself, Mr. On guard, please. Please, for the love of God. I've been comforted all this while.
The prosecution calls the defendant's mentor, Mr. Will Powers, to the stand. Now then, witness, your name and occupation, please.
Okay, I'm Will Powers. I'm a poor underpaid action star.
And what is your relation to the defendant?
Well, I guess I'm sort of a lousy mentor to him in a way, yeah. Mr. Powers, please, you don't need to put yourself down so much. Oh, sorry. Well, I'm just kind of a nothing sort of guy.
On the night of the murder, you visited the defendant's room. Is this correct?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
But, you know, I didn't actually get to see Matt when I went.
All you need to do is answer what you're asked. Now then, I would like you to please testify about when you went to Mr. On guard's room.
Okay, sure.
Remember, Edgeworth is probably being nice to this guy because he's a massive fan of the Steel Samurai. And this guy was the Steel Samurai. And that's probably what's happening. It's adorable.
After the award ceremony, I went by myself to Matt's room. Matt was standing there in front of his room, still in his nickel samurai costume. He was talking with someone. At first I thought it was the bellboy. I watched the two of them for a while, but then I gave up and went back. I had guests with me that night and I couldn't make them wait for me. Nothing sounds out of place in Mr. Powers' testimony. Out of the ordinary, I was about to say something much more complicated.
And talking with the bellboy is no big deal. If one assumes that the person Mr. On guard was speaking to was an ordinary bellboy.
What are you implying?
How did you read my mind?
Well, Mr. Wright, let's have your cross-examination, shall we? Looks like we're in another sticky situation. Huh? A trap. Can't you smell it, Phoenix? But for us to find out more, we're just going to have to charge in head first, right? Shh, I'm doing something. I don't know why I'm doing something. You saw the two of them, the bellboy and the defendant, together, correct?
Yeah, the bellboy just wanted to say congrats.
Now, while you were watching the two of them, did you notice anything strange?
You know, I did feel something weird. I think it was because Matt, well, he gave the bellboy a tip.
A tip? But that's a perfectly normal thing to do.
So, how long did you watch the two of them? Not more than a minute or two, I think.
At first? What do you mean by that?
I didn't think he was a normal bellboy.
And why was that?
Oh, why did I think that, Mr. Wright?
How am I supposed to know? Hey, wait a second. Actually, Mr. Powers, only a few minutes ago you stated...
You know, I did feel something weird. I think it was because Matt, well, he gave the bellboy a tip.
That's probably Phoenix imitating Powers now. Could it be that you felt something strange about the tip-giving incident itself?
Yeah, that's it. You really know your job. Mr. Edgeworth.
Yes, Your Honor?
This bellboy, he wasn't an ordinary one, was he?
Perhaps we should let the witness tell us.
Very well. Miss Powers, please amend your testimony. You mean about the bellboy, right? Yeah.
So he gave the bellboy a tip. What's so strange about that?
Oh, well, you see, Matt's not a poor penny pincher like me. I was trying to figure out how much it was because the tip really shocked me.
How much it was?
But that's when something even more surprising happened. The bellboy was putting the tip he got in his pocket, and that's when I got my first good look at the guy's face. I was really shocked. I'm afraid I don't follow at all.
It sounds like Mr. Powers was surprised twice by this event. I wonder which of his shocking moments I should ask about. The defendant is a huge star. He can afford to give generous tips, wouldn't you agree?
Sure. But giving him that much was maybe a little too much, I think.
A little too much? Would you please clarify for the court about how much you would say the defendant gave to the bellboy?
Honestly, I don't know. I can't even begin to guess. And why is that? Because he gave the bellboy a really, really fat roll of cash.
A roll of cash?
Oh, well, how interesting. That certainly was a very generous tip, wasn't it?
A very fat roll of cash. That can hardly be called a tip, Your Honor. The judge is beginning to look awfully suspicious of us. I'm interested. There's nothing I can really object to here. I mean, who can argue that a fat roll of money isn't really odd?
So supposing that roll of cash was not a tip, then what was it?
Payment, Your Honor.
Payment?
Isn't it obvious? For the murder of Mr. Juan Carida.
Then the bellboy the witness saw.
Yes, he was the assassin.
Hold your horses now, Mr. Edgeworth. You don't have any proof of this, do you?
Have I ever been unprepared to support my claims, Your Honor? I have here the card Shelly De Killer left at the scene of the crime.
Shelly De Killer?
He is the person the police's special investigations team has been chasing for ages.
This is not a man who should say the phrase ages.
I am certain that the person the witness saw was this very assassin, Shelly De Killer.
Really? What's wrong, Mr. Powers? No, nothing. Something just clicked in my head, and I think I just figured something out. Oh? Actually, I saw the bellboy again later on that night.
What?
Mr. Powers, please testify. Tell us what you saw. Yes, sir, right away. This time I was in that hallway because I had to go to the bathroom. And that's when the bellboy I saw earlier came out of the room. Of course, when I say room, I mean Juan Carida's room. Now that I think about it, that bellboy did seem kind of out of place. Yeah, so he had to be the assassin, I'm sure of it. I mean...
Thank you very much. That is all we need for now.
Huh? But I'm not done. There's still more.
Let us first establish that the bellboy was truly Mr. De Killer. Then we shall see.
So the bellboy came out of the victim's room. And if that bellboy really was the assassin, then I think the answer is fairly obvious.
That would be correct, Your Honor. Well, Mr. Wright, I believe it's your turn to entertain and make us laugh. This is no laughing matter. What?
So what exactly was so out of place about him?
Right. Why the insipid grin?
Maybe because I have no idea what damaging thing he's going to say next.
Oh, well, the bellboy was empty-handed.
Empty-handed?
That bellboy was one of those room service people, right? But he wasn't pushing a cart and he wasn't holding a tray either. You'd call that a little strange too, wouldn't you? I agree that it is a bit strange, Mr. Powers.
But is it really that unusual for a bellboy to be empty-handed? What should I do? Should I let Mr. Powers' testimony slide, or... There was nothing strange or unusual about an empty-handed bellboy.
But there really is.
There really isn't.
If you two are done being school children, bellboys are for room service. There is no reason for them to be empty-handed ever. Your Honor, I ask that the witness's previous statement be supplanted with this new one.
Edgeworth, are you going to do whatever you can to make the bellboy look suspicious?
I see. Very well. This court recognizes and grants the prosecution's request. Mr. Powers, if you could amend your testimony, please. Yes, sir. I thought it was kind of strange for a bellboy to come out of a guest room empty-handed.
So you're saying that it's suspicious for him to be empty-handed?
Yeah, really suspicious. I mean, when I first saw that bellboy, he was holding a tray in his hand. There was a bottle of juice and a wine glass on it.
Juice? What kind of juice was it?
I'm pretty sure it was tomato juice.
If we could come up with some sort of reason as to why he would come out empty-handed, some sort of proof, then I think we can dodge the bullet on this one for now. Proof, huh? Sounds like another job for the court record. Well, if you're just carrying tomato juice. It's the only thing I can think of. Mr. Powers.
Yes?
You're easily influenced by other people's words, aren't you? As soon as you heard that the bellboy might have been the killer, you got caught up in believing it must be true.
But isn't he really suspicious? He's got all the stitches and...
So? A baseball has stitches. Are you saying all baseballs are suspicious because they have stitches?
Well, there's also, I mean, what about him being empty-handed?
I would like to ask the court to please take a look here.
This is the crime scene.
There's a wine glass sitting next to Mr. Kurita's body. The liquid inside this glass is tomato juice. And now, if you would look at what is on top of the table in the lower right corner here, anyone can clearly see that it is a tray with a bottle of tomato juice on it. The bellboy had just brought this to Mr. Kurita's room. He left the tray in the room, which is why he was empty-handed when he left.
But that would mean that the bellboy had seen and left a dead body in the room.
But can you prove that Mr. Kurita was already dead at the time?
Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes?
I blame you for leading me down this route.
I'm terribly sorry. You're all morons. But what is with him? Why is he laughing? Witness, isn't there one more thing you would like to share with us?
Is there?
The bellboy was empty-handed, or should I say empty-handed. I recall you had something interesting to say about his hands.
Oh, yeah, I almost forgot.
Huh?
What? That bellboy, he was wearing gloves.
Gloves?
Yeah, pitch black leather ones. All the other bellboys don't wear gloves like that, right?
Black leather gloves.
Why didn't you mention them earlier? Sorry, it slipped my mind. Boy, does this make the bellboy look really suspicious.
Alright, I've got to focus. I can't get lax here.
So, what if he had gloves? A lot of bellboys wear gloves. Come on, Mr. Wright, that bellboy was wearing black leather ones.
So, a football's made out of leather. Are you saying all footballs are suspicious because they're made out of leather?
Oh. But that man, he received a large roll of cash from the defendant, and then he was seen leaving the crime scene wearing black leather gloves. I don't think that even someone like myself can believe it was just another bellboy.
It seems that we have finally come to an understanding. Now then, witness, please continue with the rest of your testimony.
The rest? Oh yes, please, tell us more. Okay. It's more up here. Sad. After leaving Juan's room, the bellboy went and knocked on Matt's door just like that. He gave something to the person inside the room. Then the old guy just left without even going into the room. After that, I went to the bathroom and then back to my seat. So, the bellboy, after leaving the crime scene, next went to the defendant's room. Yeah, I kinda saw that all by accident.
Some accident? I'd say you saw too much.
And all of it was suspicious to high heaven. I think it's safe to say that we can no longer consider this bellboy to be normal. Now then, let's get started, shall we? Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
Yes, Your Honor.
Never space for an edit while I'm resizing things.
I said hold it.
Okay.
That's better. What kind of statement is that? Please elaborate and give us a few more details.
Oh, okay.
I should probably ask him only one question at a time. So, who took this something the bellboy handed off?
Actually, I don't know.
What do you mean?
I'm sorry, but I only saw the person's arm.
Only an arm? Then you're saying you didn't see the person's face?
Yeah. Well, it was Mr. Ungard's room, correct? So it could have only been Mr. Ungard himself, I'd say.
And then, what did the bellboy do after that?
Oh, so after he gave the person inside the room the thing.
Hey, wait a second. Double hold it! All the way across the sky. Yeah. What the hell? I should probably ask him only one question at a time. He gave something to this person?
Yeah.
And what was this something?
If I remembered what it was, I wouldn't be calling it a something, would I? But this implies that something was removed from the scene of the crime. Are you sure you really can't remember, Mr. Powers? I think it was something kind of small.
I would like to summarize the testimony up to this point, if you don't mind. When the bellboy left the crime scene, he immediately went to the defendant's room. There, he handed a small item of some sort to the person inside. As for the person who received the item, all you could see was the person's arm.
Yes, it was just like that. Mr. Edgeworth, is this really all that important?
Of course, Your Honor. I think this is of the utmost importance. This is when whatever was removed from the crime scene was handed over to the client.
Mr. Powers, please try to remember what it was that the bellboy handed off. Well, let's see. I think it was... no... If you remember, please add it to your testimony. Yes, sir. If I saw it again, I could say for sure, but I think it was some sort of wooden statue.
Wooden? Wait. What was the point of that pregnant pause?
Where did that objection come from? Well, speak up.
It was me, Your Honor. What is it, Phoenix? I have a feeling that something bad is going to happen once I show this.
Mr. Wright, if you have something to say, please spit it out.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay, Phoenix. Deep breath. Mr. Powers, the something you saw, was it this item?
Oh, hey, that's it. That's the something. Well, Mr. Wright, you really figured it out.
I recall we found this at Madame Gard's mansion.
At the defendant's house? What does this mean?
It's simple, Your Honor. Shelly De Killer assassinated Juancarita in his room. And then he stole this wooden bear from the scene of the crime.
Then the bear being found at Mr. Ungard's mansion would mean...
It goes without saying, Your Honor. Mr. Matt Ungard is the killer's client.
Order! I said order! Mr. Wright, this is a most unfortunate turn of events for you.
Yeah. Sorry, Mia. No, it's all right. Your judgment was sound. Actually, I figured the bear would come up. If not now, then it would have been later on. Even if you hadn't shown it to the court, I'm sure your friend Edgeworth would have. I almost forgot that he knew about it too.
I think it's clear that there is no need for us to continue the trial. I can't let this happen. I have to do something. There has to be something we've overlooked.
Your Honor, a minute, please.
Yes, Mr. Wright?
There are still a few points left that we have not fully explored. What are you trying to pull?
Oh, well, we can't have that. All right, Mr. Wright, what questionable point would you like to explore further?
I think it's fairly obvious that the bear itself is very questionable.
The bear, Mr. Wright?
This was found at Mr. Engard's mansion. However, Mr. Engard was arrested at the hotel that night, which means that since the murder occurred, he has not had the chance to go home.
Ooh.
I think Your Honor has already figured out what I'm trying to say. It is not possible that it was Mr. Engard who took this bear to his mansion.
Why, that's very true. We didn't consider that point, Mr. Wright. There was no way time-wise for the defendant to have taken this bear home.
Phew. Disaster averted, it looks.
You haven't gotten the best of me yet, Mr. Wright.
Huh?
I remember it clear as day. I remember what you muttered to yourself at Engard's mansion. We have this area completely surrounded. There is no way for him to escape.
I can't believe it. That butler. All this time he was the killer.
The killer and Engard were working together, so to speak, and the killer was hiding at Engard Mansion as its butler.
What a bold move.
The bear figurine was brought back to Engard Mansion by the killer himself.
Get it?
When it looked like he was about to be arrested, Engard had him do so. I assume because it would have been bad had the police found it during their investigation. Well, Mr. Wright, you've been quiet for a while now.
This is too much. Isn't there anything I can attack at all? I have to try. I have to find something else.
What will you do, now, Mr. Wright?
Do you plan to?
I plan to expose a clearly shaky place in Mr. Power's testimony.
What? There is still another one?
There is indeed, Your Honor, and it's quite a questionable point.
What are you trying to pull?
Oh, well, we can't have that. All right, Mr. Wright, what questionable point would you like to explore further?
There was one thing in Mr. Power's testimony that was very unclear, and that is the identity of the person who received the bear. As long as we don't know who it was that took the bear, we can't be sure of...
What is it, Mr. Powers? If you're going to scream like that, at least give us a good reason why. Oh, yeah, sorry. Actually, I remembered. I remembered who took the bear.
What?
Really? I mean, I only saw his arm. But, the arm. It was the Nickel Samurai's arm, I swear it.
You've gotta be kidding! Are you sure of that, Mr. Powers?
Yeah, I'm sure it was the Nickel Samurai. Order! It looks like you've dug your own grave, yet again.
How many times is that today? I've lost count.
So the person who took in this little bear was the Nickel Samurai. And as we all know, Matt Engard is a Nickel Samurai.
Thanks to the defense, we've made that all the clearer. I think we've heard enough. We now know why this bear figurine was at the defendant's mansion, as well as who it was that received the bear from the assassin in his room. Everything has become very clear. The client who hired the assassin to commit the murder was Mr. Matt on guard. I see no reason for this trial to continue. Therefore, I will now hand down my verdict.
Thank you, Your Honor, for your understanding. You see, Mr. Wright, you could not win against the truth, could you?
I knew it would turn out this way. After all, what Edgeworth has stated is the truth. Any last objections, Mr. Wright? Well, do I? What should I do? I will now announce my...
There's only one way for me to drag this trial out. The only thing I have left is this one dirty trick.
Your Honor, right now we have these two reasons to believe my client is a client of the assassin. Reason number one, he accepted the bear figurine from the assassin. Reason number two, that very same figurine was found at Ungard Mansion. However, it's possible this is all the work of a certain other person. What are you saying? What I am saying is, it's possible a different person is the killer's real client. The real client? Yes.
Is this all you have?
Noted, Mr. Wright. Let's hear your theory. Who do you say is the real client of the killer and therefore the real murderer? Adrian Andrews?
Yeah. We already know that she tried to frame Man on Guard for the crime. By wearing a spare nickel samurai costume.
Ugh! Then the nickel samurai's arm that I saw, that could have very well been Miss Andrews. But what about Mr. On Guard?
If you would please recall yesterday's testimony, the defendant was taking a nap during the break period.
That's right. Then, finding this figure at Mr. On Guard's mansion, it was all a well-laid trap set by Miss Andrews. Mr. Edgeworth, what is your opinion on this?
I can't even begin to count the flaws in the defense's logic. Besides which, there is no evidence to support it. However, I can't fully discount its possibility either.
What is with this trial?
Come on, anyone can tell On Guard did it.
I can't believe the defense would go so far as to pin the guilt on someone else.
Yeah, unbelievable. It's not something petty, it's murder of all things.
This is to save Maya. This is to save Maya. Even if the whole world turns against me, this is the one fight I can't give up on. This is to save Maya. Order, order, order! All disrupted parties will be forced to leave the courtroom.
Your Honor, for the benefit of the defense, I'm willing to play along with his what-if game.
His what-if game, Mr. Edgeworth?
The prosecution is prepared to challenge the defense's theory. Mr. Wright, even you must have thought it strange and wondered, why would the criminal want this little wooden bear?
He's right. The killer did specially bring that bear to On Guard right away.
What do you ask? Is there something special about it? Absolutely. And I'm sure that once the court knows its significance, the true killer's identity will become crystal clear. Your Honor, the prosecution calls upon a witness who will clear all doubts against Miss Andrews.
And who would that be?
It's quite simple, Your Honor. Miss Adrian Andrews herself.
I see. Well then, the court will take a short 10-minute recess. The prosecution will prepare its witness in that time.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, I knew it was a good idea to hold her hostage. Don't you agree, Mr. Lawyer? But I never thought in your desperation you'd try to pin the guilt onto Adrian.
I swear this demon will pay.
Mr. Nick!
Pearls? Where's Mia?
I don't know. A really strong power suddenly called her away.
A really strong power?
Huh? Oh, Mr. Nick, your phone is...
It's from Gumshoe. How's it going? Have you been hanging in there, pal? Yeah, sort of. We just barely found something to latch onto. Ew, that's good, pal. And what about you? Anything yet? Have you figured out where De Killer and Maya are? Oh, well, we still don't have any leads, but... What? We don't have any more time! If we just had one, even a single clue would be really helpful.
I was only able to come this far because I kept thinking to myself, I've got to keep the trial going until Maya's been rescued. Have I just run out of luck this time? Is all our hope for naught? A tent!
Huh? A tent?
I could see a circus tent.
Mia!
It looked like Maya was unconscious until just a few minutes ago. As soon as she woke up, she called for me.
So it was Maya that called you away?
She's locked in a dusty little room right now, but I could see a circus tent outside the window about 300 feet away.
Gumshoe! Is there a circus in town right now? There's only one, pal, the very big circus.
Maya is somewhere within a 300-foot radius of the main tent.
What? Okay, hold on a sec, pal. Hey, draw a circle on that map, about a 300-foot radius from the main tent. Hurry!
And? I could see a mailbox under the window.
Gumshoe, there's also a mailbox. Okay, what else? What else, Mia?
I'm sorry, but it was a very small window. I couldn't see anything else. It felt like it was in an old office building. Maybe the 3rd floor or so.
I heard her. An old office building. Good stuff, pal. Okay, just hang in there. Just a little longer, pal. Wish us luck. Good luck. I'll call you later, so don't let your battery die, okay, pal?
Mia, Maya's not hurt, right? She's in a pretty bad state, Phoenix. She's being starved. Gumshoe, please hurry. Looks like we're out of time. Are you alright, Phoenix? It's only a matter of time before Maya's rescued. I can do this. I just have to make this trial last a little longer.
Court will now reconvene.
De Killer, the man who murdered the victim, handed this to his client. From this, one obvious question arises. Why this particular item? I believe the answer to that question will provide us with the name of the real criminal. Now then, the prosecution calls the defendant's manager, Adrian Andrews, to the stand. Currently, the witness is accused of tampering and obstruction of justice. However, you have been called to the witness stand today to ascertain who exactly is guilty of murder.
I understand.
Very good. Now, have you ever seen this bear before, Miss Andrews?
Of course I have.
You have seen it before?
That's right. It's only natural that the witness has. Miss Andrews, could you please enlighten the court to this bear's secrets?
All right. Why does she... Dramatic coughing. I'll get a drink in a bit.
Actually, this is an elaborate puzzle. If you know the correct order, it can be taken apart one piece at a time. At its center is a small cavity, with just enough room to store a small item. Because of its complexity, if you don't know the order, you can't open the bear. You really can't tell that it's a small jewelry box just by looking at it.
So this figurine, it's a container of sorts, is it?
Yes, looks can be deceiving, wouldn't you agree?
Yes, this is superb craftsmanship. Oh, yes, I nearly forgot. You may begin your cross-examination, Mr. Wright.
It looks like there really was something to that bear after all.
Why aren't we engaging in puzzle mode?
A puzzle? That's right.
But it looks like an ordinary figurine.
True enough. To people who don't know, I'm sure they would never guess that this was a puzzle.
So what kind of puzzle is this exactly? So you can take it apart, and how would one go about doing that?
Well, you first turn its tail to the right, then push it in.
Oh, yes, I see.
After that, the arms and legs are free to move and can be removed.
Oh, this is most interesting.
A boy and his new toy. It's like he's 5 all over again.
Oh, don't mind me. Go ahead and carry on.
I think he's lost it.
So, what do you find after you take the puzzle apart?
And how do you know about this?
I know because I was the one who bought it.
Huh?
It was a souvenir from when a friend and I went to Switzerland.
Then this was a present from you.
That's right. It was a puzzle in the shape of a bear, so I thought it would be perfect for Juan.
So it was a present from Miss Andrews.
Witness, let's continue with your testimony.
So who exactly knew how to solve this puzzle?
Only the two of us, Juan and myself. It was a souvenir from Switzerland, so I doubt there are that many people with the same bear in this country.
But this looks like it can be easily broken, especially if someone wanted to get what was inside.
Well, it's a toy, but it can never be the same again once it's been broken.
Who else knows that this bear is actually a small container or jewelry box?
I never told anyone. And as long as Juan never told anyone either, then only the two of us knew.
The two of you, huh? Then, of course, that means that Mr. Engard didn't know, right? I think this is about all I'm going to get for now.
Well, Mr. Wright, I think even you have come to realize that there is one very important fact we haven't covered, and that is this. This bear is actually a jewelry box. Now that we have agreed to this point, there is only one logical question that can come next, and that is this. What is inside this box?
What's inside?
That's right. That's what we are going to find out next. Witness? Yes? You are the only one who can open this. Please.
There's a painful silence hanging over the courtroom. All eyes are on Miss Andrews now as she solves the puzzle and takes the bear apart.
I've opened it. Is this what you wanted?
What is that? It looks like a note.
I don't think we need to guess at what this is. Do we, Mr. Wright? It's the suicide note.
The suicide note?
The suicide note left by Juan Carita's former manager, Celeste Impax. Until now, no one knew of its whereabouts, but just as we suspected, it was hidden. Hidden by the victim, Juan Carita himself. It seems Celeste Impax had very beautiful handwriting, and she just as beautifully signed her own name on this document. This is most definitely the note she left right before she committed suicide.
Order! Witness! Did you know about this?
Yes, I did. I heard all about it from Juan. When I discovered his body, I looked for the bear. I wanted to destroy the note before it became public, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Because it had already been taken by the killer. Everything is going at Mr. Edgeworth's pace. So now that the suicide note has been found, what's the next logical question? What is written on the note? That's right. At least that's what I would think. Now then, I believe it is only appropriate the contents of this note be made known. I can't stop you, can I? I went through so much just to get my hands on it, and I was going to burn it, for her sake. I'm deeply sorry, but I can't allow you to persuade me to stop. Your Honor, if you could please read the contents of this note aloud.
Very well.
The judge's voice rang loud and clear through the dead silent courtroom. In her note, Celeste Impax left to us a record of all that had happened to her, about being used and then thrown away by Enguarde, about being engaged to Carita and Enguarde's role in destroying that, and about how she decided in her despair to end it all.
And that's all that Miss Impax had to say.
There is but one thing I would like to say here. The prosecution has no interest in slandering Mr. Enguarde.
Then what?
Our intention, Your Honor, is to establish a motive for murder. Isn't that correct, witness? Yes. On the night of the murder, Juan was going to make the contents of the note public. After the post-ceremony show, he was going to hold a press conference.
My word.
Matt Enguarde values above all else his refreshing like a spring breeze image, which is why he had to stop this note from being made public, at any cost.
It's Enguarde's fault the woman killed herself. And this time, he even went so far as to kill someone to stop him from revealing that. How terrible. What a selfish person. I guess there are slimeball lawyers out there who'll defend these creeps too.
There is no margin for doubt here. Mr. De Killer's client's goal was to obtain the suicide note, and the only person who needed this note that badly is the defendant. Let's not forget that the bear with the note inside was found at the defendant's house.
It seems that we have come to the truth at last. The defendant's motives were entirely selfish. He deserves no sympathy from anyone.
How am I supposed to escape from this one? Why the hesitation, Phoenix? Gumshoe hasn't called yet, so you know what you must do.
I know. I have to carry on and buy him some more time. Okay, there are two deadly pieces of evidence. The figurine and the suicide note. Maybe somehow I can find a way out of this situation through one of these.
The gavel is already in the judge's hand, Phoenix. Hurry!
The suicide note or the figurine? Which one should I pursue? Please wait, Your Honor. Oh man, look at that lawyer. He's still going at it? It's like he doesn't care that he's trying to get the killer off the hook.
I think Your Honor believes that Manengard killed in order to obtain this note. Yes, that is correct. But that seems a little strange. In fact, I think there is a contradiction here. This note was hidden by Mr. Kurita until the night of the murder. If that is the case, I say that Manengard could not have known what was written on this note. Oh, I didn't think of it that way. Exactly. But I did think of it that way, and I thought it was rather strange. No one in their right mind would kill for a note without first knowing what it said. Order, order, order! You make a valid point, Mr. Wright. Mr. Edgeworth, what is your opinion? It was just a flash, but I think I did rather well on this one. Unfortunately, I think he believes differently. I believe a show of appreciation is in order. Huh? The defense seems to be in love with wishing more despair upon itself. I would like to direct the court's attention to this. What is that? It is a very small video camera, Your Honor. This type of camera is commonly used as a means of spying. Spying? What the? I thought that spy camera was in my possession. Manengard and the victim both thought of the other as their biggest rival. They even went so far as to use this type of item to find each other's weaknesses. And? The victim, Juan Kurita, was being spied on. His personal life was being watched by none other than Manengard. Order, order! Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor? You don't tell me you knew about your client's spying activities. Well, sort of. Sort of is not an acceptable answer, Mr. Wright. I see you are confused, Mr. Wright. You're probably thinking, but I have the camera that was in the stuffed bear's eye. Huh? But this camera that I have is not the same one. Last night I searched the victim's house on a hunch, using this Gumshoe's bug sweeper. By the way, Mr. Wright, the defendant's fingerprints were found on this camera. Manengard's fingerprints were on there? Well, Phoenix, it looks like those cameras were hidden all over the place, huh? What am I supposed to say to that evidence? I think this is the end. It's fairly obvious that Mr. Engard learned of the suicide note through this. He was watching the victim all along. He got me good this time. I don't have anything to counter that. Hey, now what's that we're thinking? Mommy, is that in the bad killer guy? Stop, don't look at him. The way he's sweating is just so, ew, nasty. Phoenix. Yes, Chief? Have you figured out what you're going to do next yet? What I'm gonna do next? Does running away like a frightened child work? I know it seems like Mr. Edgeworth is very close to putting the lid on this case, but in his eagerness to prove his point, he forgot one very important thing. What is it, Mia? There's a piece of evidence that he really should investigate. Something he should investigate? I'd really hate to see the good prosecutor get scolded for not remembering to look into the item when he had the chance. Why are you speaking in riddles all of a sudden? Alright, I think this time we finally understand everything. Well, Mr. Wright, you don't have any further objections, do you? What is this piece of evidence that Mia's talking about? Can I figure out what it is that still needs to be looked at, or should I just let it go? I have an objection, Your Honor. That was about the weakest objection I've ever heard, Mr. Wright. Your Honor,
The defense has no intentions of letting this go so easily. Is that better?
You are beginning to sound desperate.
That's just your imagination, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth, this is not like you at all. In your eagerness to prove your point, you've forgotten one very important thing.
Hey, isn't that what I just said? So you're telling me that I forgot something?
You're so close, Mr. Edgeworth. But there's something you really should examine about this piece of evidence.
That is Miss Impax's suicide note, right?
Who knows? I mean, sure, the suicide note was found inside this bear, but this bear was in my possession until a few moments ago. Which means the handwriting on the suicide note has yet to be analyzed. Ooh, so, as to whether this pivotal piece of evidence was really written by Miss Impax or not, has yet to be even remotely confirmed.
Mr. Wright, you can't seriously be suggesting...
Mr. Wright, are you saying the suicide note is a fake? Miss Andrews, you were the one who tried to pin this murder on Mr. Ungard. Who's to say you didn't create a fake note and put it into this bear? How dare you? Your Honor, the defense is indiscriminately accusing the witness again. There is no evidence linking the witness to the suicide note whatsoever. But if this is a fake, then the witness is the only person who could have made it. What? Recall the witness's testimony concerning the figurine. The only person other than the victim who could solve the puzzle is the witness herself. Miss Andrews, you wrote this note, didn't you? You wrote it so you could use it to frame Madame Guard. I did no such thing. Right, if you're going to pronounce this suicide note a fake, then show this court some evidence to support your theory. Mr. Edgeworth, you are the one who presented the scrap of paper as evidence. That means the burden of proof lies with you, the prosecution.
That's enough. Mr. Edgeworth, can you confirm the handwriting on the suicide note?
It is as the defense has stated. The handwriting is yet to be analysed.
If that's the case, it seems that yet again we have reached a point where a verdict is impossible.
That's impossible!
This isn't good, Phoenix. The judge is going to carry this trial over one more day. I don't think Maya will physically be able to make it another day.
I didn't want to have to do this, but I don't have a choice. I request that both the prosecution and defense further investigate. Handwriting analysis, my butt. That's just the lawyer trying to buy more time.
Ungard is guilty. Look, any idiot can tell you that.
I think we've reached the end of the line.
Guilty, 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 guilty.
What is that sound? It's Gumshoe.
Hello, Gumshoe? What is with him, and what's with that sigh? Where's Maya? What happened to the killer?
He got away.
What?
I'm sorry, pal, I really am. I don't know what to say besides I'm sorry. I wish there was some way to make it up to you, I really do.
What? Anyway, what's going on?
We found his hideout, pal, but the two of them were already gone.
This is terrible.
I'm gonna keep looking for them, pal. Don't you worry, I just need a little more time.
But...
Don't tell me we don't have any more...
Guilty, 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 guilty.
Do you hear that? They're calling for his head.
Mr. Wright, I can't... for us to come this far and... Oh! What is it? Let me talk to Mr. Edgeworth. I can't do that! Mr. Wright, would you please get a hold of yourself? Yes, Your Honor. I'm about to end today's proceedings. You may take your phone calls after. Hold on, Your Honor. Edgeworth, catch! Mr. Edgeworth? Please, you gotta buy us some more time.
Court is in session. I'm sorry, Your Honor. You were saying?
Mr. Wright, this is a court of law.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but...
I'm reluctant to do this, however, it appears that I have no choice but to suspend proceedings until tomorrow.
This time I really can't do anything.
Court is adjourned for the day.
Please wait, Your Honor.
Edgeworth? What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
I humbly request another 30 minutes of Your Honor's time.
For what purpose?
We can perform the necessary tests on this piece of evidence in that time.
But can you really obtain your results in 30 minutes?
I believe we can, Your Honor.
But wouldn't it be better if we adjourn for today and then reconvene tomorrow?
30 minutes. Please, Your Honor. That's all I am asking for.
Please, Your Honor. Very well. At the prosecution's request, this court will now take a 30-minute recess. But be advised that I will not allow another recess today.
I'm not sure if this is helping or hurting us.
The court will now take its final recess of the day.
Right, well, what's going on with Maya's situation?
The killer. It looks like he got away again. 30 minutes? We can't find her in that time. Ugh. Edgeworth to Shell, report. I'm sorry. Report! Is that Mr. Edgeworth?
We don't have time, just spit it out.
Right. It looks like we just missed them, sir. But the killer left a few things behind by accident in his rush to get away.
A few things?
Can we use any of them as evidence? I thought you'd ask, pal.
Huh?
I've got the things he left with me right now and I'm on my way over. Really?
That's odd. Any items like that are usually sent to the crime lab first.
We don't have time to wait for those guys, sir. When those guys weren't looking, I swiped the stuff and ran.
What?
Well, I'm not a detective anymore, so I had to. I'm really sorry, sir, but I've got to put the law on hold for now.
Sounds really bad. I hope he doesn't get in too much trouble over this.
With my hunk of junk car, I'd say I'd be there in about 20 minutes, sir. Don't worry, I'll be there. Wait for me.
All right, just get here in one piece.
I'm on a mission and no one can stop me now, sir. No one. I'm pulling out all the stops and running every red light.
Items left by the murderer, huh? Maybe there's something among them that will be decisive enough to end this. Hey, what's wrong? Detective Gumshoe, answer me!
No one can stop. What just happened?
It sounded like he had an accident. I'm guessing his cell phone broke as well. What was he thinking? We've got to hurry and call for help! But we have no idea where he is. His cell phone is broken and he wasn't driving a patrol car, so no radio either. Also, If we don't get to those items before they do, the police will take possession of them.
No, we can't let that happen!
Well, if there is a way we can find out where he is, then we stand a chance.
Why did Gumshoe have to get into an accident now? Is there any way to find out exactly where he is at this moment?
That's right. There's a way.
What?
How?
I'm sure we can find out where Detective Gumshoe is through this.
Why are you bringing up Franziska at a time like... Oh, I see. I'll try to get in contact with her. The chances are slim, but she's all we have.
Franziska. Will she even want to help us?
Edgeworth. What is it?
I don't have any right to judge anyone ever again. I know my client is guilty. But what I'm doing now... I'm pitting the guilt onto someone totally innocent and using the evidence to do so. It might be my turn to say defense attorney Felix Wright chooses death.
Right. It doesn't suit someone like you to cry useless tears. Whether you did your job well or not, that could only be seen after the verdict has been decided.
The verdict? Is Prosecutor Edgeworth here?
Yes, bailiff?
There's a phone call for you, sir. They said it was extremely urgent.
They're probably finished with the handwriting analysis. I have to go take this call. In the meantime, think hard about what it is you must do.